Hey, everybody. Good to have you with us. It is Friday night. That's right. Hope you made it through the week in fine shape. I am your host, Jim Masters. Thanks so much for joining us here. We are live on the show, and I thank you very much wherever you are around the world. We have so many people that tell us that they're enjoying the show because it's lighthearted. We have great guests, and also we do some fun segments as well. And we've got a very special episode of the show that we're going to be celebrating today. And I'm very excited to have you here. The show continues to grow by leaps and bounds. We thank everybody who has been sharing the links. That's very important. When you share the links, that introduces the show to so many more people, which is fantastic. And also sometimes you can even have on Facebook, they have it structured where you can have watch parties too, where you can invite all your friends to watch and enjoy the cool segments and the fun things that we like to do here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Again, it's Friday night. I hope you had a great week. What did you do today? Were you busy? Were you working? Were you outside? We had some beautiful weather here today. Really, really nice. A little humid. It's got some humidity coming off the coast today. But again, it was really, really nice. And I welcome you to join me in a toast. We always do a toast here on the show. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the Jim Masters Show Live. We are in our fourth week. That's right. And it's been just growing by leaps and bounds. We've had some sensational guests who've joined us here on the program as well. And I appreciate that. So many amazing people. And boy, do we have a bevy of guests. Do you know that we're actually booked out with guests for 4 weeks ahead? For the next 4 weeks, we are solid with guests who have been saying, hey, I want to be on that show. I want to be on the Jim Masters Show Live. I want to have some fun. I want to tell my story. And that's absolutely amazing. I can't believe it that so many people have been hopping aboard as guests. And then, of course, if you watch the show regularly, we do lots of fun segments too. And every show is something different. Tomorrow night, we're going to have our Viewer of the Week. So don't miss our show on Saturday night. We're going to announce our next Viewer of the Week. And what we do is we celebrate one of the viewers who's faithful and loyal and has been watching the show for a good amount of time. So we toast to the viewers who watch and who spread the word. And again, if you're just joining us, I'm your host, Jim Masters. And again, we do a little routine here where we say hello to you and you and you and you and you and you. Tonight, we just have a little green tea. We're going to have we didn't eat yet, so we're going to have a spaghetti dinner later on with meatballs and the fixins. It was a really busy day today because I was on Close Up Radio interviewing several different guests on that series. And then we literally just got in from a hike. We were out hiking, too, along the coast. It was really beautiful. A lot of people were out. A lot of people were out enjoying the hikes, but it was a little humid today, just a little humid along the coast. What is the weather like where you are? Is it really nice? Are you having a beautiful day? Evening is here. It is just after 7 o'clock. We're toasting everybody. And as always, if you're just joining us, we have our regulars here. We always have to have some light and levity and some fun. George Burns is with us here on the show. We say hello to George, and George says hello to you. There he is. He's one of our cast of characters here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We introduced him just a couple of weeks ago, and he's really excited to be here. He's sort of my sidekick. And of course, we've got Jeannie. Jeannie's been here throughout. She's loyal, but again, she's still stuck in here because the hair salons are still closed until June. Hopefully, you'll be able to get your hair done soon, Jeannie. She's in there, and because she's been in here since March, she's been quarantined. She lost her powers. How you doing in there? You doing all right? Yes, Master. So our usual routine, again, everybody loves these things. They're like, oh, we want to have George and we want to have Jeannie stay on the show. And of course, here's Silver. Everybody looks for Silver. There is Silver. Silver is here to say hello. Which direction are you in, Silver? There you are. Look at Silver, huh? Picked that up in Europe on a TV shoot. And Silver is here to say hello. Again, every host has their cast of characters, and we have ours. And of course, Jimmy, Loretta LaRoche, the humorist and stress management expert and author. What a riot that was. That was an amazing show last night. It went for almost 2 hours. Whew, can't believe it. And we texted and talked after, actually called each other after, and she absolutely loved being on the show, and I loved having her. And go back in the archives. If you want a few laughs, go back and watch last night's show too. You will have a lot of laughs. And we started the show a little late last night because she had problems. Her browser, I think the browser that she has, there was something with the browser not she has a Mac, and for some reason her browser was not understanding our streaming service. So at the last minute, in the 11th hour, she was being told she had to download Google Chrome and all of this stuff. So she was on the phone with me, and it's like 2 minutes before the show, and she's like pulling her hair out, and she's you should have heard what she said. It was very funny. And finally, we got her on, but she had to download Google Chrome and the whole thing for everything to work on her computer. So we paused everything until she was ready, because she was our special guest. But it worked out great. We went 2 hours. And again, we had Liz Kiefer from Guiding Light, Days of Our Lives, and Happy Days, and 21 Jump Street, and Lou Grant, and you name it. Liz Kiefer's been in it. Brilliant actress. She was our special guest in a special episode this week, too. Award-winning veteran actor, film and television star Tony LoBianco was with us as well. That was a fantastic episode. As mentioned, we had Rain Pryor with us as well, and Mairead Nesbitt, and on and on and on. Great guests. We are booked for 4 weeks out we're booking the 4th week of June already. All the other weeks are taken with guests that are coming up, and some spectacular people. And of course, when we don't have guests, we have a lot of fun together. It's very interactive. We do a lot of viewer interaction. Your friend Jimmy is here. Yes, Jimmy says hello. Isn't that cute? You know, with all the chaos and strife and all the chaos that's been going on, you know, even right now as we speak, if you turn on TV, there's a lot of stuff going on. So we're here to lighten the load. We talk about some serious topics too. You know, we're here to talk about relevant things going on in our world, but we're also here to help each other through everything as best as we can, because I think we're building a beautiful community of people here on the Jim Masters Show Live who've been reaching out to me, who've been sending me notes and texts and emails and Facebook messages. They've been watching these episodes. If they're not live, they watch them in the archives on Jim Masters TV on YouTube. A lot of new people have been watching the re-airs or the reruns or archived episodes of Jim Masters Live, these series, the Jim Masters Show Live on YouTube, because you can go to my YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and not only will you see every show that we've done, you also see a series of Masters mantras that I specifically have done on location and here at the home studio. And a lot of my, some of my professional work too is on there as well. So Jimmy's here, and Silver is here, and George is here, and Jeannie is here. And again, if you're just joining us, see a lot of new faces coming in. We toast you and you and you and you and you. And we've got a beautiful episode in store for you. Let's say hello to some of the folks that are coming in. It's a very interactive broadcast. And let's see, Austin Greenfield says, I want spaghetti and meatballs. You're making me hungry. I know, me too. I'm going to have some spaghetti after the show is wrapped. Hello there, Kathleen, the Queen of Queens, New York. We appreciate you being here as well. It's a pleasure having you here, and thank you for joining us and everybody else that's hopping on. We've got something very special that we're going to be sharing with you here on the show, and it's my honor to show this and share this with you. I mentioned earlier in the week that we were blessed. We found out just 2 days ago that we were blessed and honored with winning an International Telly Award, which is a coveted honor that is bestowed upon television producers and hosts and creative people from the television industry, the international television industry. And they had about 20,000 entries from all around the world in a variety of different categories for television work, for video production, for graphics, for content, for music, for design, and so much more. So we entered into the contest recently through my work on Close-Up Television, a television documentary that I was asked or requested to host and executive produce. And it was truly a labor of love. I can tell you, I mentioned it a couple of nights ago that I actually got a headache in working on the project because it was such a labor of love for me. And I was tasked with flying out to Burbank, California to interview a renowned visual artist who is so deep and so inspirational, very spiritual, and just a beautiful person. Her name is Alice Asmar. She is now, as of this past March, 91 years old, and she's a spitfire. She really is amazing. She's an only child. She's been drawing since she was a little girl and painting. Her work is in the Smithsonian. Her work is in galleries in Paris. Her work is in New York and literally around the world. She's been commissioned multiple times to do major works. from murals to portraits to so much more. She is very talented. If she doesn't paint, she feels like she doesn't have breath. She doesn't have life. She feels like she's guided by something larger than herself. So we were assigned to go out to California. I interviewed her on the radio first, and then we were assigned to fly out to California to do an actual television video interview, which became a television documentary, which I was tasked to host and executive produce, write, voice, and co-edit as well. And again, it was a labor of love, and there was a lot of sleepless nights a few months ago in working on this project, because again, she's 91. This was really celebrating her extraordinary legacy, the body of work. And when I do work like that professionally, I really like it to mean something and have a depth to it, a warmth to it that people respond to. So they get the essence of who I am through my work, but also an essence of maybe what it is that I'm celebrating and showcasing, who it is that I'm celebrating or showcasing. So we went out, we had dinner. And when we flew to California, we landed in Burbank. I met up with my camera guy, Alex. He came from the East Coast. He lives now in Burbank as well with his wife, and they work in animation. So he was our camera guy, and we were co-videographers as well. And it was amazing because Alice said, I want to go to dinner first. So we went to dinner at this really cool place called Castaways, which is high up on a hill in Burbank, and it overlooks, it was in the evening, and it was beautiful. It was in the fall too. And it overlooks the city of Burbank, and it overlooks, if you look to the left, it was stunning. You saw Burbank beneath you, and then you saw to the left Los Angeles and their skyline. And you're up above, and it was just stunning. We dined outside. We had a beautiful dinner. Again, we had already known each other because we did the radio interview. And she said, I want Jim Masters to come out. I want him to interview me and capture what I do. And I've been doing this for decades. And she's highly renowned, and she's an author, and she's also an art educator. She teaches people, children. She was a professor. I mean, she's got an illustrious background, and she's been revered and renowned by many. So I was sent out. We met. We filmed for 2 days, and it was a glorious experience. And she's got this beautiful art studio that's attached to her home in Burbank. And she welcomed us into her world. And it's just her there. Her husband had passed away years ago. She has no children, and she was an only child. She is surrounded by the beauty of her work. So I wanted to really capture that. I really wanted to capture, so when people watched this, because this has been seen by literally, I've been told, millions of people now, because it was distributed, this documentary, internationally as well. She has distributed it, and many other people have distributed this documentary on a monumental level, and it's been receiving so many awards, accolades, and comments. But the main thing was that Alice was pleased with it, that Alice was moved by the celebration of her amazing life. Matter of fact, after she saw it for the first time, I was excited to tell her that it was finished. She called me, and we were on the phone for 4 hours. She was moved to tears by it. And believe it or not, actually, I was too. We put so much energy in it. And there was a lot of sleepless nights because, again, I wanted this to be done just right and to be didn't have to be perfect. It just had to meet the standards that I have in my professional work. And it had to be something that really moved people. So we just found out this week that we won an International Telly Award for this television documentary celebrating and a conversation with a renowned visual artist, Alice Asmar. And it's my dear pleasure to share with you this very special documentary for the first time here on the Jim Masters Show Live. It's also on my YouTube channel. And again, it's been seen by millions of people now in just the short time that it has been completed and it's out. So I want to share with you this very special presentation, which again is this documentary. You're going to love it. It's about 38 minutes, and you're going to hopefully enjoy it. And then we'll talk about it after. I hope it moves you as much as it's moved Alice, and it's moved me as well. So again, this is the Telly Award-winning documentary celebrating renowned visual artist Alice Asmar. I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to speak with you after. I'll be back after. It's my special gift to you this Friday night. I really wanted to share this with you. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. All right. So here we go. This studio is filled with lots of color. Everything is so vibrant, but there's lots of love in this studio, isn't there, Alice?
Absolutely. That's the only thing I work with.
We're here in Burbank, California, to celebrate the life, legacy, and body of work of Alice Asmar. She's an extraordinary, internationally acclaimed and renowned visual artist, as well as writer and art educator, somebody who's inspired young minds for decades. She is somebody who loves life. She's passionate. She's enthusiastic. She believes in living the life experience. She's also very spiritual as well, and you can see that reflected in so much of her work. She says prayer is painting. Painting is prayer. Also for her, painting is like breathing because it gives her such life. So we're here to celebrate the legacy of the extraordinary Alice Asmar. You're somebody who feels as though you are sort of a facilitator. You're a conduit. You are being inspired by something when you paint these gorgeous pieces of work. You are being inspired by something greater than yourself, right? Tell us about that.
Yes, I believe in God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and I pray to them and ask them to fill me with an inspiration that will inspire others. And I feel that the only way I can inspire others is to be inspired by the great creators that put us on this planet.
Early on, you were noticed as a child prodigy, especially when it came to creating these beautiful pieces of visual art. Tell us, what was the first essence of inspiration for you? Was it your parents? Where did that inspiration come?
Yes, because I was tracing little designs on the floor, on the carpeting, and my mother noticed, and she gave me paper and crayons, and I started drawing, and I was drawing everything. I was drawing people, I was drawing roosters, I loved animals, and I was drawing little cats. I even tried to put the cat in a little buggy because my parents had a ma and pa grocery store, and I remember growing up in the Depression era when people felt that money was tight, and I guess it was for some. But if you read Getty's book, he says there's no such thing except in your brain. He made his best money in the Depression and all that kind of thing. So my parents, anyway, were generous with giving millions of sandwiches to people that came to their store. I don't know how much money they were making, but they were very giving, generous, wonderful people. And Mom was generous with the crayons and the paper. And that's when I started painting at the age of 2.
What were some of the first things that you painted with crayons?
Well, people and animals and buildings and everything that I saw. I mean, it was my vocabulary in visuals instead of in words. My parents were very giving in the sense of they wanted me to be my own person. They said, you're in this country where there's a lot more opportunities than the country that we left, and we want you to make something of yourself. Do well in school. So I got straight A's in school. I was good academically all the way through to the master's degree, and it was easy for me And so I helped the teachers by doing big drawings in their classrooms when they wanted to teach children geography and they wanted to have a big drawing of South America or Europe or whatever, and I would help them. And they would take me out of class because they knew I was doing well academically, because they didn't want to deprive children from learning.
Sure.
That was against their rules. And the art teacher was wonderful. Oh, she gave me transparent paper, and I painted what I consider my first murals. Transparent paper and watercolors, so you can imagine how crinkly it got. But it didn't matter. I was on the floor painting my first mural, and then they put it on the window. And they created a very interesting Christmas scene, because my first big mural was of the Madonna and the Christ child and the angels. And they put me on the table, photographed me, and put me on the front page of the Oregonian. So I knew that, and they had the children singing Christmas carols outside of my window.
What do you think inspired you to paint Madonna and
God,
yeah,
Jesus.
You think even early on,
yes.
you had
early on,
real
I had a
sense
feeling
that there was something,
something greater than me that existed. Yeah.
Did a lot of things come to you naturally or
Yes.
almost effortlessly?
I felt everything was easy and fun.
Well, other kids might have
I was
struggled in
kinda
certain
happy.
areas, and for you, it just you get it quick.
And then they would choose me as room representative to represent them. You know, I was supposed to be the one that would make the decisions for the children that were less sure of themselves,
Sure,
you
right,
might say.
exactly.
And I loved all of them. I did drawings of them and gave them drawings, and they felt good around me because I felt good around them.
And then people were starting to really notice more and more this talent. You're talking about high school, and then
because in high school I would enter contests also,
right?
And win awards and be shown with the other artists that were winning awards, and it became I was sure of myself by that time, because it seemed like everything I entered I would get an award. The teachers wanted my mother to put me in private school because, you know, they said a girl like that's academically way up there and, you know, does art and music and everything and athletics, you should have her in a private school. My mother said, no, thank you. I want my daughter to be democratic. I want her to get along with all the people in the world.
Exposed to all
no matter how different they are. I want my daughter to
religions,
be with everyone.
Perspectives.
Yes.
Right.
And
that was a great decision your mother made.
Oh, she was smart.
Appreciation and understanding.
She wanted me to appreciate everybody and get along with everyone.
That you might not have if everything was so homogenized, perhaps.
That's right, homogenized.
So how has that's a great point there. How has that, even that early decision that your mother made, your mother with the crayons that she had for you, your mother now saying, I want you to have influences of all cultures and people, how has that also inspired your art?
Well, it makes me feel very open and happy because I don't feel like I'm rejected by anyone. I was always kind of questioning everything about everything, and it was, you might say it stemmed from my mother's very open, wonderful view of life. Yes. And my father, too.
Your father.
He was a singer, and hundreds of people came to the house to hear him sing those great, wonderful Arabic songs. I don't know how he held his breath the way he did. But they have a thing about the way they sing. Instead of one straight sound like an A, they would go to different sharps and flats and A and B and string out what I call that long line of melodic, lineal gorgeousness that you would hear in your ears. It was absolutely amazing. I feel that I was surrounded by the riches of life with my parents.
They showered you in love and attention.
Oh,
and support.
Absolutely. But I was an only child, and I didn't like that. Early on, I had a hat because I said, well, I want a brother. And they said, the friends of my mom said, well, she'll have to go to the hospital, and then she'll, you know, come back with a little brother. And I said, oh. And so they said, and the hospital's going to cost a lot of money. So I got some little hat or cap or something and passed it around. I wanted money. so I could send my mother to the hospital and she could get a little brother for me.
Would you say that this desire and passion you have for creating worlds through your work, expression, passion through your work, life, love through your work, influences of the divine through your work, was any of this sort of your own playground, your own escapism? Did you escape early on as a child into this world of creativity and art and painting as a result of being an only child as well? You created sort of your own canvas in addition to having, family around as well?
Well, those are very good comments that you're making. And it makes me realize that, well, one of the important things I feel right now is that when the children would go home after we were playing and I'd be all alone, I would turn to my drawings, because then I could see the little animals that I would draw and remember how much fun it is, with the little feathers on the rooster, because I had 4 bantam roosters as pets when I was a child, and I love them dearly. And so when the children would go home and I would be alone, I would turn to drawing, because there's only so much communicating and enjoyment you can get from adults that are that much older than you are. It's your parents are much older and you have a certain relationship, but it's not like with the kind of relationships you would have with the children or with a sister and brother, as I imagined a sister and brother would be, like the children who went home. So I turned to the drawing and I drew a lot because I enjoyed it immensely. Yeah. I was thinking of it as I'm creating a world outside of myself that I love, and that world is different than I am. And I used to tell students, don't just think of me, and self-expression, but try to learn more about the external world and what it's doing to the way you think and feel.
Blending of elements of yourself combined with the expression of the world, right? And absorbing that and using elements of that in your work, which is a beautiful and often unique way to go about it, because people do focus on wanting to express their vision, what they see, what they, and there are some artists where that's beautiful to see things through their eyes, but you tend to incorporate everything. And that's one thing that it leads me to this question, because when we were chatting on the radio and when we went to dinner the other night, you said something that was really interesting, because people often ask you, how do you define your visual art? And how do you categorize it? How do you label it? And you said pretty much it's like the entire vocabulary.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, when people say, what kind of work do you do? I say, I do the whole vocabulary.
Right.
I do landscapes, I do seascapes, I do portraits of people, of animals, I do machinery. I even worked for Boeing and did drawings of the airplanes, and they wanted me to be an aeronautical engineer because I was doing so well, and they put me in the prime position at Boeing's and wanted me to really go on with it. And they paid me to learn engineering drafting, which I think was the best drawing class I ever had. It was wonderful. It was very precise and all that, but I liked it. I like precision. I like clarity. When I say whole vocabulary, I mean the whole vocabulary, visual vocabulary. Because that would mean I have to learn new and different things, sometimes use different colors, explore into an area that I am not familiar with. And to me, that is exciting about learning about life, is that you don't just repeat yourself over and over again in a dull, kind of monotonous way. You go out, you branch out, you learn from something that's totally different than yourself, or a person that's different and has different ways of looking at the world. And to me, that is really living fully.
There's a couple of things that I noticed when doing the research for the interview that really stood out for me. A lot of things, actually. But for the purpose of this interview, you say, and I think they're beautiful things, for you, painting is like breathing. and painting is prayer.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if I would no longer paint, I would not be breathing. I would not be alive. I may be, still talking to people and walking and doing things, but from the standpoint of really feeling fully alive,
Living.
I would feel the vibrancy would be gone. And prayer is automatic for me. I pray every minute, thanking God for giving me the abilities. And the more I thank him, the more the abilities seem to increase and get better. And I think, well, what used to take maybe 10 hours to paint takes 10 minutes now. And thank you, Lord. I thank him constantly because I feel that I am an expression of this great power that's within all of us. And that's why I can't help saying, and I've told this many times, publicly and to just a few people talking to them, I said, I want to contact all 8 billion people on the planet personally, but I know that this is kind of impossible from the time point of view, and also, even trying to reach all of them in all the different countries. But maybe, just maybe, if God gives me enough ability, I can reach them through, we have radios now, we have tablets, we have television, we have all kinds of means of communication so that we can talk to the others, and hopefully we can even see the crowds responding to us in the communication implements, I call them. And so I say, I really honestly want to reach these people. If you want to reach people, you're happy. I feel so happy when I'm reaching out.
Do you feel also as you're painting that you talk about healing, that a lot of what you do provides much more than just the visual stimulation and enjoyment of the setting, the colors, the nuances of the actual piece? You have a message in a way that goes deeper. You want people left with a sense of love and joy and solace and appreciation for the things that are around us. So what you're doing goes deeper and beyond just the physical beauty of your expertise and your work and your eye. You want each piece to have a depth to it that impacts them in ways greater than they could have ever imagined, right?
And that's why I pray, because I feel that I'm not the one that's going to put that inspiration and love and greatness and all the good feelings, etc., into it. It will be this marvelous creator, whatever you want to call him or her, whatever, power, energy, that I pray that will inspire me to the point that whatever I do with paint, canvas, paper, pencils, pastels, that they will be the result of higher thinking, higher consciousness. I think it's great that we have these things, the television,
digital
the tablets,
advancements and
technology and all the things that, you try to talk to someone and they have a little rectangular thing at the ear and they're listening to somebody else. Well, it could be something else. It could be a tablet. It could be a computer. It could be, all kinds of intricate things that we have that separates us from life.
From each other, yeah.
And this is what I would want for the world, that it gets back to some of that togetherness.
Well, one thing I notice in this studio, which I think is extraordinary, is how natural and authentic it is. You don't see any of that in here. You don't see all of that technology in here. You see, there's the desk, there are the brushes, there are the paints, there's the easel, the canvas, everything is just right here in an old school way, in a natural way. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you prefer to work, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because people have said, well, why don't you paint on the computer? No way. I want to feel the brush. I want to feel the hairs of the brush and the paint. I want this in my hands. I want it to be a complete contact. I'm not afraid of brushing up with that which is alive. Well, of course, they could say, well, the phone is alive, but it's not alive until you talk into it. I mean, of course, it has its little vibrations and it is alive. Everything is alive on the planet. Even the tables are vibrating. Everything vibrates, but on a certain level. Not all are vibrating at a top, higher consciousness level. And the higher you go, it's like if you listen to Mozart's music, and a lot of college students do when they're studying for tests, because it raises their IQ 10 points. Higher consciousness is what will help our civilization overcome the destruction that so many seem to want to head toward.
So it sounds like the world needs a dose of Alice Asmar everywhere and Mozart piping through the streets. That may help it calm down a little, right? I think that is in order ASAP.
Well,
those two things and you've got it made.
I feel that color quite often can express a boldness, a strong statement that you believe fully and you wish others could maybe, if they don't believe the way you do, at least modify their beliefs so that they can be strong in their beliefs and be bold about it and not hesitant and hiding behind something that they don't fully endorse. And that way they can improve, I think, and we all can improve, then the relationship that we have with the great world we live in, because it's honest. It's the way I don't understand it now, but I will understand it better tomorrow, or however we look through these paths that we go through in trying to gain more understanding and more enjoyment of the world that we live in.
Let's talk about some of the work itself, because you have been highly rewarded, awarded, accolades galore. We could do a whole interview just on the amount of rewards, recognition, accolades. None of that is why you do, again, the work. It comes from the work. Letters from governors, even a letter we see on the wall from the legendary actor Vincent Price. I mean, it just comes from every source from around the world. What are some of those pieces that you have created that have been really noted by others tremendously?
Well, Jim, one of the important pieces that I've done that many people have responded to is called the clothesline. And that was when I was living in Santa Monica in a tiny apartment, which became my studio. And I actually took the great big piece of paper, which is 3 feet by 6 feet, out to the outdoors and started in with my indelible India inks, making this drawing of Santa Monica. And at that time, you could hear all of the voices of the people on the different rides. It was kind of like a Disneyland thing. And it was just marvelous. I mean, I was actually involved with life itself right there outside. And there was her clothesline. And it was, I thought, a universal statement of what so many people do. They hang their clothes on a clothesline, and you don't really see many paintings of that very universal thing that is done by so many
Everyday
people.
life,
and so
right.
I felt good about it. And one of the things I was dealing with from the standpoint of technique in the art is that usually we think of things that are far away from us as being indistinct and fuzzy visually, and that which is close to us as being clear and sharp. And I was using a reversal of that idea, because everything in the distance, you know, the people riding on the different kinds of things like the dipper and things that would throw them upside down, and even the little bus on the streets that they had there in Venice. All of those things were super sharp and clear, and I made them sharp with my ink drawing. And then the clothesline, because the winds came up, the clothes would be blowing. So you couldn't really see them with clarity because they were blowing and they were in motion. And so I was dealing with a reversal of a common idea that everybody was making static, that everything in the distance is unclear and fuzzy, and that everything close up you can see clearly. And I was reversing it in my drawing. And so it was exciting for me to do that kind of thing, because I was dealing with art principles, and I was dealing with the human beings that do the washing of the clothes, and I was dealing with a lot of elements. And that's what's so important. And that's why it's not for me just self-expression. It's for me a learning experience. And I feel that I use my talent to learn more about people.
There's gifts
and life.
you bring to the table that are complemented by life's observations, life's experiences. Would you say that you are an observer of life?
Yes. I love to observe life and to be partaking of it at the same time that
that's
I'm making
important what you just said,
observations.
because there's a lot of people who observe it, comment on it, but they don't involve themselves in it or live in it.
That's the mistake from my point of view.
Right.
I think that to really observe it, you should be a part of it as well.
In addition to your wonderful role as an art educator and a visual artist, you're also a wonderful writer too. And you've penned this fantastic book, Dance to the Great Spirit. What was the source of inspiration for this book, and what was the process like writing this book? And go over what it's all about. I mean, I've been reading it, and it's absolutely incredible. Not just the visual content, but everything that goes along with it that is so empowering and inspiring. Tell us about this book, which I know is a labor of love for you.
Well, as you know, a friend took me to, in fact, he was my fiance for a while because he was killed, but he was from New Mexico. And he said, "Oh, Alice, you've got to go see those Indians in New Mexico. They are just really amazing." And I said, "Well, you always talk about them." He had been a minister, and he had ministered for some of the Indians who were poorly treated by other people of the Caucasian race, unfortunately. But I went down there, and he took me to see some of the dances that they do, and they were dancing as David would dance in the Old Testament, and singing and doing music, praising God. only they called God the Great Spirit. And they would thank God for all of the food that he has given us, for the animals. And in fact, if they would kill an animal, it was either for food or clothing. They never killed as a sport to show an animal's head on their wall in their den or anything. That would be totally, totally anti-Indian. And I loved that. I loved the love that they had for life. And I thought, gee, these are great people. And they were here before the white people came, and I want to know more about them. So they, love is contagious. They knew that I respected and loved them, and they told me things that they didn't tell others of my race because they trusted me, and I enjoyed knowing that. I enjoyed having the friendships with them and learning about their culture. And of course, I painted them, just like one of the paintings in there of David Toloman, the Navajo husband of Anacita Toloman. Mm-hmm. He was a Navajo, and she was an Indian from one of the pueblos. So he said, we have a song and music for everything we do. Like when the women are grinding corn, we have a corn grinding song. Yeah. We have a song for every activity that is done by us. So when you're painting, I'm going to be playing my drum and doing the painting of a picture.
I mean, this is extraordinary.
Isn't that wonderful?
There you see it all happening.
Oh, and
right there.
They wear the symbols of life, the greenery and the feathers of the birds, and then the foxes behind the men, representing the animal world. In other words, they're giving praise and thanks to the Great Spirit for all that they enjoy and use on the planet.
And artists' sacred journeys into American Indian ceremonies, paintings and text by Alice Asmar.
Oh my God, I just love those people.
You've been doing this for so long, and it's in your DNA. It's a reflection of who you are, this work.
Yeah, it's my breathing.
It's your breathing, it's your prayer. Why does this work continue all these years later, bring you such fulfillment, satisfaction, and deep joy, Alice Asmar?
I don't know why it brings me that joy, but it does. And so I continue to do it. Even when I've had to work full-time, as a professor or at the Boeing aircraft or wherever it was I was working, I would also have to be painting every day because it was, for me, breathing and being in touch with the great Creator, and therefore being in touch with life.
So you'll never stop.
At the fullest level. Never stop.
You'll keep going.
Can't stop.
You'll keep going.
Yeah. Even I feel I will be doing it when I leave the planet. Beyond. In my human body. I'll still be doing it.
For you, with the amount of work you have done, personally, professionally, just as an independent artist all these years, child prodigy to a renowned, beloved artist, why does this still continue to bring you such extraordinary joy? And when you are gone, as you say, you'll continue painting even beyond being here on Earth. What do you hope will be the lasting legacy via all of this creativity that you've created for all of us and the greater good of all of us?
Well, I've said this over and over to so many people that I want to leave a body of work that will be an inspiration to other human beings, inspire them to feel strong about themselves and their relationship to life and God and the higher consciousness that exists for all of us if we're willing to work with it. But I hope that my work in some small way will help them to realize what's within themselves, and I'm hoping my work will truly be inspirational to others. And it inspires me to do the work. So I keep on working because I'm inspired by the great Holy Spirit that exists for all of us. And I keep working as a result. Even if I say I'm tired and I don't want to work, then I get up and I start working.
You still do.
Because I love it. And it's telling me something about life that every moment it tells me something different. And so there's a never-ending wanting to discover more about this beauty of this. We call it life, but I don't know what it is. It's so magnificent, so big, so ununderstandable, but I want to be part of it.
And you certainly are, and continue to be, and you have been. And you also have inspired so many young minds, too, who've considered pursuing their dreams and their hopes and their desires in a beautiful way as an art educator as well, and teaching those who have wanted to do this kind of work as well. Alice Asmar, you're a joy to interview and a joy to personally know. And we thank you so very much for inviting us into your studio, to your life, to your home. And we hope we get a chance to explore more down the line. But this was really a wonderful conversation, and we hope somebody watching is inspired, even if it's just one person, by your words and this legacy of beautiful work that you've shared with all of us. Thank you for being with us, Alice. It was a true honor and a pleasure to meet you in person.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure and an honor for me to be here.
You're very welcome. So as you can see, Alice Asmar truly is the real deal, as authentic as they come. She expresses her love for life, joy, beauty, a celebration of cultures and people and nature through her extraordinary legacy and body of work. What a wonderful experience to come here to Burbank, California, to really see it all up close and personal. It is really beautiful, and the energy in here is breathtaking. She says that she's inspired by something larger than herself, a true sense of the divine, the true spiritual nature. That's what she's all about, and we're so blessed by the opportunity to come here to experience her and her work. To learn more about our special guest, Alice Asmar, visit her website, aliceasmarinternational.com. At the Alice Asmar Studios in Burbank, California, for Close Up Television, I'm Jim Masters. And there you go. That was truly a very moving project that we had an opportunity to be a part of. And she was simply amazing. We've become, as seems to be the case with a lot of the people that I come across, we've become special friends and dear friends, and we've created a wonderful and warm bond. And again, as I mentioned, one of the things that I self-imposed was this desire to really, in an eloquent and warm and meaningful and deep way, long-lasting way, really capture the essence of not only this brilliant artist who, again, she has work that's in the Smithsonian and everywhere else. Oh, this thing is playing here. Let's turn that off. Goodbye. All right, there we go. The show wants to start itself again. Anyway, so what I was saying before was the trying to capture the essence of this individual who's 91 years old. And you figure she spent all of these years since she was a child surrounded by art, creating art. Her work, again, is in the Smithsonian. Her work is also in galleries in Paris. I mean, it's literally around the world. There's murals all over California that she has done. When we got a chance to actually spend that time with her in her home, and we were there for 2 days. None of us wanted to leave. It was really amazing. And I just really got a real sense of the essence of not only the artist, but also the individual, the woman, what she's all about. We wanted to really not just capture the fact that she does beautiful art, but we wanted to capture the essence of her life, knowing that she's 91, how she's always wanted to reach, all 8 billion people through her love and her light and her art. And she's reached many over the years, but we really wanted to capture it in a way that gave people a real feeling of who she is and why she does what she does. And she does it for the greater good. And she feels like she's inspired by something that's truly greater than herself. Sometimes I feel that way too with the work I do, on television and radio and more, that there's something else that's moving me and inspiring me more than just the actual work itself. So as an artist, as a creative person, Alice truly feels that depth. And during that conversation, we were able to really capture that. And with the essence of the visuals, the music that we selected, the editing, just the whole thing had to meet a certain expectation for me as the host and executive producer. And then everything else just followed into place. And then when Alice saw it, she said she'd never had anything of that depth done on her life in the 91 years that she's been on this planet, sharing her love and light and beautiful art. So that really moved me. That was a true blessing, how moved she was. We were on the phone for about 4 hours afterwards, and she's shown it again. Millions of people have seen it. And it was really a blessing when, again, this week we had learned that we won the International Telly Award, and it was competing against like 20,000 entries that were submitted from all points of the globe. That the people that were judging it in this Telly Award competition, which are people that are within the television industry, our peers, people that are in production, people that are in, all aspects of television, looked at it and they felt what we felt. They got what the message was. They got the feeling, the depth of the essence of who Alice Asmar is as a person. And any of my work that I do, I usually tend to go deep that way and try to really get the essence of the individual and celebrate it with the rest of us. Because I could just say, hey, here's this artist, Alice Asmar. She does nice painting. She's really funny, witty, and that's it. But we really wanted to capture in a way that meant something and was long lasting. And hopefully you felt and were moved by that as well. So I wanted to share it with you tonight because we won the International Telly Award just 2 days ago. Because when I was planning out the format for tonight's show, I said, should I show it now? Should I wait? It is on YouTube. If you want to see it again, it's on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. I said, should we wait, maybe show it, months from now, or should we show it now? And there was something about having it be tied in with having just won the Telly Award for that television documentary on Alice's life that I thought it would be something special to show you. Also, I think it was the timing to show it to you now. I mean, I've shared it previously on Facebook. People have watched it and enjoyed it on YouTube. But on this new show that I've created, the Jim Masters Show Live, I wanted to share it with you specifically because of what we've been going through lately as a society with the pandemic, and now all the strife that is happening tonight and last night in our world, in our country. There's a lot of unrest. And if you listen to some of the words that Alice was sharing and even some of the questions that I was asking her, which were all blended and tied together, she was talking about ways for us to get along and ways for us to uplift each other and ways for us to see the greater good of humanity. And through what she does, she expresses that through her gorgeous art. Again, art that's right now on the walls of the Smithsonian Institution. She's beloved. She's witty. She's feisty. She's a firecracker. I tell you, we should all be so lucky at 91 years old to still be doing the work we love like she does, and to love life and to understand the meaning of what it's all about and want to share it with the world. I hope that for myself, and I hope that for you as well. So this was a very special, moving episode of the Jim Master Show Live. We always have a lot of fun, light and levity, special episodes, great guests, the whole thing, and more to come. Again, this is only 4 weeks old. We're just building this. This will grow if you continue to share the links, the posts, the promotion, have watch parties, and we'll get lots more people from all around the world. We've got some great comments coming in. You know, this is the show where we like to be interactive. I salute all of the folks who take the time to watch the episodes. It was a great interview. The award is well-deserved. Thank you very much, Kathleen. I really, really appreciate that. Marianne Kelly, well-deserved award. Yes, I appreciate that as well. And Karen Ayani from Pittsburgh, hello. That piece with Alice was wonderful. Congratulations on the award. Well-deserved. Thank you very much, Karen. And I also appreciate the lovely message that you sent me this afternoon. I really, really appreciate that. I'm glad that even when you're not here live, you watch the archived episodes of our Jim Master Show Live series on YouTube at the Jim Master channel. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your warm words and your private message to me. Also, here's another one, Martha Oliver Swartz. I'm loving this. Such beautiful art, so deserving of the award. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Martha. And Izzy from Barcelona, Spain, who loves the art world as well. Thank you very much. Gracias. I appreciate that very much, Izzy. That is beautiful. Again, more beautiful comments. She's been with me on the Facebook pages for a long time. I appreciate her efforts. Pretty Artista. Yes, absolutely. Wow. I appreciate that as well. Alice Asmar, congratulations. Mucho color. Yes, absolutely. And more natural. Yeah, realista. Very realistic. Very beautiful. Martha Oliver Swartz says, oh my gosh, such stunning clothesline art. That clothesline piece that she did. Could you imagine? And that's a drawing. That's not even a painting. That's all done by hand way back in Santa Monica, California. She did just a beautiful, beautiful job with that. And good afternoon as well. That's right. Good afternoon. It's good evening here where we are here on the East Coast. I just love her paintings, especially the animals, the cat with the plant that's behind your chair keeps catching my eye. Wasn't that a cool one? Yeah, it's really, we could have spent, we were there for 2 days. She actually didn't even want us to leave. We hated leaving too. Again, she's there. She's 91 years old and she's just such a beautiful soul. And again, hopefully you felt that. Hopefully through the efforts of hosting and executive producing and creating this documentary, because it's touched a lot of people who've been watching it, millions, they said. And obviously those judges at the International Telly Awards felt the essence of what we wanted to capture. And again, knowing she's 91 and this being a celebration of her legacy, I was very conscious of that, you know, time is of the essence and we wanted to do this right. And I think we really captured something beautiful. Thanks for all these wonderful comments, everybody. I really appreciate that. That was fabulous, Jim. Thank you, Martha. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. And Austin Greenfield, that was a very touching video, Jim. We appreciate that. And television documentary, we're celebrating it this week, toasting with the crew on garnering that award. That was I tell you, that was such a beautiful surprise. Because there was over 25,000 people that were competing and internationally too. It was just it really made the day on Wednesday and it really has continued to make the week. So I wanted to share it with you here, you know, invite you into my life and share it. Thank you very much. And that was Christine Fairwood. Easy to see why that won the award. I can look at her art all night. Yeah. And the conversation as well. So appreciated you sharing this wonderful story. My pleasure. It was absolutely my pleasure. And again, we'll do a little more like that. I'll dig up some things, maybe even from archives past, things that I think you'll really enjoy here on the show. But we wanted to spend some time, again, just sharing this television documentary with you here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Tomorrow night, we're going to have Viewer of the Week. Who will it be? We will find out. Of course, I invite you to relax. Blessings. Hopefully this documentary that I shared with you is Telly Award-winning. It's interesting to say that now. Telly Award-winning television documentary that we shared with you. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to share the show. You know, once the shows are aired, you can share the links. You can share this on YouTube at Jim Masters TV, right here on Facebook. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go right there, click subscribe. Nice to have you there. I'll subscribe to your channels too, and Facebook as well. Don't forget to relax. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to love one another and take care of yourself and one another as well. Always remember to put the oxygen mask on you first, then help others, even though you might want to do the other thing in reverse like I do. And always be good to yourself. And your friends here, Jimmy says good night. And so does Silver. We're going to keep this show close to the hour because we really wanted to spend the time and focus on the television documentary with Alice Asmar. So Silver says good night. And of course, Jeannie does. And so does your friend George Burns, my Ed McMahon, the sidekick. He says good night as well. And again, as we do, I'm surprised I don't knock anything over and spill anything here. One day I might, live on the show. We say a toast to you and you and you and you and you and you. I really appreciate all of the kind words. The show is a work in progress, just like that documentary was. The show is a work in progress. We're building the show. We're growing the show. It's only been 4 weeks, and we've had so many great comments. Again, we're booked out with guests for 4 weeks. We have great segments. We've got a weekend of fun shows coming up. I invite you to be here. And thanks to all of the loyal viewers who join us every single night. Feel free to spread the word to your loved ones and friends. Tell them we're here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes we take the Sunday off to be with family, but generally here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And I think each and every one of you is a star. I think you're a star. What TV show is going to say that to you? That maybe I'm the star of the show, but I think you're the star of the show too. That's how we work. That's how we roll here at the Jim Masters Show Live. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap up for tonight. I've got a spaghetti dinner waiting for me with meatballs and bread, and I am starving, and I can't wait to have it. Maybe I'll tell you about it tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Thanks again for all of the great comments. Thanks for being here. Again, every show is different. Every show is unique. And we're building the show. We're creating the show. If you have some show ideas, if you have some guests, perhaps, that you'd like to have on the show. Again, we're booked out 4 weeks. So we're booking to the end of June now with guests. Got some amazing people coming up. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Yes, the spaghetti dinner sounds delish. It's a bit of a busy day working today on the air and then preparing a lot of stuff and writing a lot of scripts. Busy, busy day. But wanted to share the day with you here on the Jim Masters Show Live. And again, we thank you very much for being with us and really celebrating the time with us. That's the key. When you think about it, we get a chance to celebrate each other and lift each other up on this show. And again, feel free to go back in the archives. But boy, did we have a cool show last night too at Loretta LaRoche and some of the other shows. It's been extraordinary. And even tonight too, sharing this television documentary with you and yours. I thoroughly hope you enjoyed it and it truly moved you. There you say on the screen, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, Facebook.com, Jim Masters TV, YouTube.com, Jim Masters TV. Share with your friends. If you love the show, if it inspires you, if it moves you, then share the links. And I know a lot of you do that. When I post what show's coming up, you'll share it. And I really appreciate that. A lot of you are around the world watching, United States, Canada, Asia, Australia, Europe. We welcome you all. And again, tomorrow is going to be a special show, a lot of fun tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's Saturday night, We're going to have the disco ball going again in the background. So we're going to have that. We're going to have our cocktail. Have your cocktails ready. Matter of fact, if you have cocktails, why don't you send me a photo of you with your cocktail, and maybe I'll show the photo on the show. You can send photos to jimmasterstv@gmail.com. That's jimmasterstv@gmail.com. And perhaps we will show you toasting with your cocktail. Tomorrow, viewer of the week and some special surprises as well. Again, thanks so much for joining us here on this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live, special episode where we debuted and showed, well, not debuted, but we showed the television documentary on beautiful Alice Asmar. Again, some of the guests we have coming up. Monday, we have the Harp Twins. That's right. And oh boy, we have so many great folks coming up. Do you recognize any of these fabulous faces that are coming up? We're going to go over who they are on tomorrow's show. All of these great guests and so much more are coming up. Matter of fact, I got to load in some more photos because there's tons more guests coming up. For anybody celebrating a birthday, Alex, Martha Oliver Schwartz's grandson, celebrating a birthday tomorrow. So we wish him a happy birthday as well. And we wish you a very pleasant good night. And again, thanks to everybody for being with us here on the show. Love you all. Got to go have that spaghetti dinner now. And I just really appreciate every single one of them. You guys are amazing. And I love doing this again. This is just something we put together 4 weeks ago, built a set, and here we are. George, you're going to enjoy some spaghetti with us? I think he is. You guys have a good night. Take care. Love you all. We got to go. You take care of yourself. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, wherever you are around the world. You have a good night. Jim Masters, thank you for your time. This time, till next time, on the Jim Masters Show Live. Facebook at Jim Masters TV and YouTube at Jim Masters TV. For all of us, all the cast and characters, we say good night to you. Take care. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.